Join Clark Lunt and David Shaw for the Burn Your Boats Timely 10, where they share insights on the latest real estate investing trends, market conditions, and statistics. Stay updated on the industry with these expert hosts and learn how to create wealth through smart investments.
Clark, it's time for our Timely 10 again.
Let's do it.
But today, you are getting on a plane immediately after we record this episode, and you're heading off to Panama City to check out some real estate opportunities over there, Clark. Yeah, I bet you're pretty excited about that, right?
I am. My passion is traveling, and actually with an emphasis on international traveling. I just like to go different spots, different cultures, different food. And we can, from Tampa, I can get a direct flight. I'll be there in 3 hours. And I'm looking forward to spending the next week really talking to, I've already got interviews set up with different real estate investors, people that have actually moved. They're expats now. They lived in like Florida, and now they live in Panama. So I'm excited to do an episode and bring some interviews in because a lot of people are confused right now, which is the whole reason we're on this Timely 10 right now. Dave, you're going to introduce two confusing articles about what the hell is going on with the market right now. And so it's like, are there other opportunities out there? So listen here in the next week or two, and we're going to be bringing you some cool stuff about some international just ideas. I just want to plant seeds is that the U.S. market is not the only market in the world, I think, right, David?
Yeah, we're going to, because Clark's going to be in Panama next week, we're going to do an episode about buying international real estate. And I have a deep well of experience in that world. I've been buying and selling properties internationally pretty much all my career, which I tend not to talk about all that much here. There is a big, big world out there. With very sophisticated markets to buy real estate, and it's largely ignored by people who don't really travel, or they don't see the ability that they can buy properties internationally. So we're looking forward to next week. We're going to do an episode on buying international property, where people can consider it. Is there finance available? Is there visas available? So I'm really looking forward to teeing that up next week. But today, Clark, we're going to talk about the confusion in the media. The Timely 10 is all about, taking some, very on the market right now information where people are confused. And so there's two articles were in front of me this week from CNBC, both on the same day. And I'm going to read them out to you, right, real quick. So article 1 on April 2nd at 12:05, okay? U.S. housing prices are likely to enter a long period of decline, advisory firm CEO says. Meredith Whitney, founder of and CEO of Meredith Whitney Advisory Group, says supply-demand dynamics will probably invert, with supply set to exceed demand. And she projects a long period of price decline in the U.S. housing market. Now, on April 2nd, at 11:20, so 40 minutes earlier, CNBC ran a piece, and I'll read the headline here. Home prices rose 5.5% in February, compared with same month a year earlier, says CoreLogic, right? And so they talk about the latest housing report, and they bring that back to where housing why housing looks robust in the near future. So if you were sitting there during your lunchtime for 40 minutes watching CNBC, you would be walking away from both of those just utterly and utterly confused, right? So Clark, tell me, what do you make of these two conflicting articles? And people out there, what are they to do when they read both of these kind of things?
Yeah, it's extremely confusing, and we've been doing this a long time, and we feel like we're certainly professionals and quasi experts in the field, right? So I can only imagine if you're just kind of getting into things, you're like, what in the hell is going on? And we're raising our hands saying the same thing. So if you think about it, right, the house price resiliency is still strong, right? Like sellers are still feel good about their property, their values. You look on Zillow, the MLS, you talk to realtors, everyone is, it's not, gloom and doom with the value of their
That's right.
property. So you can still see it. The prices are still high. Yet then you look out to the media world, right? To social media, and it's like, oh, interest rates are high. It's much more of a fear-based kind of vibe that is being
Right.
put out with the real estate market. Whether you're investing, whether you're buying it for yourself, it doesn't kind of matter. So we've got two opposite ends of the spectrum, right? You've got a seller that owns a house and they feel good about their product, right? There's not foreclosures on all the way down their street. There's not just fire sales of properties. Yet the media says, guys, be scared. It's not good time to buy. Interest rates are high. David, what do you make of all this?
If it bleeds, it leads, Clark, right? So, in the social media world, you look at anybody putting, let's say, the facts and data of real estate out there, um, with an unbiased approach to it. Just say, okay, here are the facts, here are the data from the actual marketplaces. You can always cherry pick data, always,
Right.
right? But if you put the facts and the data out there, and take your opinions and keep your opinions to yourself, like what might or might not happen. The bottom line is that we have nationally strong house price resiliency, right? And coincide with that, we have a very negative outlook in the media. And so I took the time prior to this to go back to 2001, 2019, 2018 to see what people have been saying about housing if I go back 4 years. And guess what? I have that steady stream. 2018, negativity in the media. 2019, negativity in the media, and so on and so forth. So this is a steady stream. It's a steady drumbeat of negativity. So in order to help the listener today, we're going to try and explain this. So what is keeping house prices from falling? Because traditionally, when interest rates rise, house prices soften. That's what traditionally happens. Well, in this case, we have builders, many builders, keeping prices artificially high, right? So you're not seeing price discounts for the builders, but what you are seeing is you're seeing, in order to create the volume, you're seeing interest rate buy downs. You're seeing um,
Closing
seller
cost concessions. Yeah.
closing costs paid for and all of that.
Yep.
And in a lot of cases, these discounts being offered by the builders are up to about 20%,
Yeah.
right? You could consider that a price drop, right?
It
But
is a price drop. Yeah.
prices have remained high statistically, right? Now we also have historically low inventory, Clark, right? So this is something that we look at all the time, because when we buy a house or we attempt to sell a house, we need to know what the demand is, what's the absorption in the neighborhood. So Clark, do you have any stats on this historically low inventory? Tell me about where inventory is now, right?
Yeah.
Versus where it normally is.
So sales volume kind of historically is off 23% from the peak of kind of 2021, 2022. And so to kind of give you an idea is that in 2019, we kind of like to go back right before COVID because I feel like that was the last somewhat quote unquote normal time. There was 193,000 sales in 2019. Okay. So let's call that kind of a normal market. COVID hits, explodes, everything goes crazy. Now we're in we just got the 2023 numbers. There was 176,000 sales. So there was about 20,000 sales less in 2023 than versus pre-COVID, right? And so that tells you that there's less movement in the market. There's less trading. There's less transacting in the market. So that kind of leads us to think, okay, David, why is it that there was less trading in the market? Now, obviously, the interest rates are high, right? That's obviously a big thing. That's the flavor of the month, the flavor of the year, the flavor of the last 2 years, actually. So walk us through, David, if I bought in 2019, 2018, just prior to the last 2 years, and I was a homeowner, right? How would my mortgage payment change? Because that's the biggest thing I think is that the mortgage payment has just shot up so much. break this down and give us real numbers as to what
Right.
Sally seller is going to sell. Why should she sell or not sell her house right now? Break down those numbers for us.
Right. So to be clear, and I'll answer that right now, our data here is from all of the stellar MLS environment. And so when we say 193,000 sales in 2019 versus 176 in 2023, sales were actually in about 2022, sales were over 230,000 sales within the stellar MLS. So there's a pretty catastrophic drop in sales volume between 2022 and let's say 2023, from 230,000 sales down to 176, which is lower than 2019, right? But with that catastrophic drop, we still only have 4 months of inventory, Clark. That's crazy. So you can that's crazy to think about, right? But so what's causing this drop in sales? It's affordability. People can't afford to move, right? So if people can't afford to move, keeps supply low because they're not selling their house, right? So let me give you an example to your point. In 2020, you wanted to move to a house that was 25% more expensive than your house, right? So this is trading up. Let's say you want an extra bedroom or something like that. Typically, your monthly payment would be about 40% more. So on average, that'd be about $400 more. So you want to sell your house, buy a bigger house across the street. It's 25% more. Your monthly payment could by about $400, right? But if you wanted to sell your house, you wanted to move to a similar house, right? Because interest rates were much lower, right? There's a $0 cost side. You just say you just want to move into a different neighborhood that's closer to the market, right? Or closer to your job or something like that. Cost you nothing. Sell your house, move another house. Yep. Guess what? Today, let's say exactly the same thing. You want to move, you want to upgrade your home, you want an extra bedroom. And so you're going to buy a house that's 25% more than your current house that you currently own, that you will sell. So you're going to sell at an elevated price. You're going to buy at an elevated price. But with high interest rates, the difference now is 132% increase in your monthly payment. That's catastrophic. So when you're looking at that equation, you say, oh, I'm going to upgrade. So basically the concept of the ladder, the property ladder. I'm going to buy my first condo, and then I move into a 3-bedroom house and a 4-bedroom house, and so on and so forth. Then move to a good school district when I have kids. That's broken down. That's huge, right?
That's tough.
So even if you wanted to move into a similar house, to the same point, they'd say, I've got a 3-bedroom, I want to move to another 3-bedroom, just closer to my job. That's going to be a 60% increase in your monthly payment. And so nobody's selling. Nobody's selling. The market is in absolute stasis. So let's say, why this future negativity? As you sit there on the media and you say, well, nobody can afford to move and nobody can afford to buy, and volume is rising, let's say, right? Just volume is rising and sales are decreasing. This naturally would lead you to conclude that house prices are going to crash, right? But here's the thing. There are millions and millions of people with pent-up demand on the sidelines. We have the biggest generation in American history, millennials, largely priced out of the market right now. And guess what? They don't all want to live in a condo downtown. They want to get married. They want to have a dog. They want to have kids. They want to send those kids to school. So if and when mortgage rates drop, Clark, now mortgage rates peaked at about 8%, but they're projected to hit about 6.3% on average later on in 2024. That comes to pass, I'm not sure. But mortgage rates themselves, regardless of the 10-year note, mortgage rates themselves have been softening because there's the mortgage lenders have a little bit more information about where the long-term trajectory of mortgage rates are. So at the end of this year, mortgage rates are projected to be around 6.3%. Right. That will free up some inventory because that person who wants the extra bedroom or wants to move closer to his job, that's going to have a big impact, right, on that person's ability to move. Okay. And so my take here is this: if rates come down, supply is going to increase. We know that. The doomsayers are saying when that supply increases, there's going to be no demand and prices are going to collapse. That is not going to happen. When rates come down, supply will increase, but it will also lend itself to a pretty dramatic re-entry into the market of that whole millennial generation and all of this pent-up demand. People who are living in houses right now that are too big or too small or in the wrong location, they will all move too. So in my view, the idea of sitting on the sidelines because you read a negative article the data doesn't back it up. And if you are sitting on the sidelines and you think, I'm going to wait next year till house prices fall in price, I think that's a pretty poor approach. If you're waiting next year for interest rates to fall, well, you're going to be competing with a lot more people to buy houses, right? And so you can always buy a house today and refinance later. But my hot take here is I don't think we're going to see house price collapse. I think waiting is possible. Like you're going to get into a higher mortgage rate. Maybe you should get a 7-1 ARM rather than a 30-year fixed. So maybe you change up your mortgage product,
Yeah,
Clark. But
I like
I'll
that.
toss this over to you. Why all the confusion? I think we've walked through a couple of statistics there. What do you think as we conclude here?
The philosophy of diet starts tomorrow um, is I think very applicable to this, right? It's like, oh, I'm gonna wait to get abs next week because next week just isn't as farther down. If you're just sitting around waiting, because essentially you're timing the market, right? Um, and if you want to time the market, you're missing so many opportunities, guys. It's not timing the market; it's time in the market, and you can't, the data doesn't lie. Is it prices, although they may stay the same, they may go up a little bit or go down, you're missing all these opportunities by just sitting on the sidelines, sitting at the beach. Diet starts tomorrow. You're not getting any healthier eating a cheese pizza right now saying diet starts tomorrow, right? Diet starts today. Okay, so take
Yeah.
action. Okay,
Right.
get a house. If you have a house now, I would recommend keeping that mortgage, and it's what we talk about all the time, is keeping that 3%. That thing is like gold. Okay, so hold on to that, and then figure out through a lot of the tips that we give in a lot of different episodes is how to be able to buy a house. Think creatively to be able to continue to grow your wealth. Okay, this is not about buying. This is an episode about buying today and buy low and sell high, right? This is about growing your wealth, and the only way to grow your wealth is to take action. And diet starts tomorrow is not the way to take
Right.
action. You're not gonna have a six pack by sitting on the couch, and you're not gonna grow wealthy by sitting on the couch
Right.
just speculating with doom and gloom.
Yeah, it is very easy to get emotional about what might happen in the future. Our take today is that you're going to hear a lot of conflicting stuff, but the bottom line is there is so much pent up demand out there. House interest rates may come down, and that's just going to bring more people into the market. And we might have softness in the market, but that's okay
Yeah.
if you're a long term investor. And I will say, if you're an investor, this is a great opportunity because right now houses that are poorly renovated, are poorly presented. And I'm not talking about the house that they're so bad that a house flipper is going to go buy them or a wholesaler, but there's a
Right.
nice little sweet spot in the market right now where people who have, priced their homes wrong, or they're overly optimistic, or, they got a beautiful home next door for sale for 425, and you got a home that's a little bit tired right beside it for sale for 415. Go make a $350,000 offer on that home because right now sales volume is way down. So there are some desperate sellers out there who just want to dump their homes. There are right now, right? But you got to go and you got to approach them, right? But if you got a nice house, it's priced right, and it's in a good location, boom, don't even try and you're not going to get your deal there for sure. But
No.
there's deals to be done. Volume is down. This is the time to pounce on properties that maybe need some work, need some painting carpets, need some TLC. are overpriced and that are 150 days on the market. The market's being very, very choosy right now. If we go and we do a renovation and we do a beautiful renovation, we get the roof, we get the electrics, we get everything, that house can still sell in today's market in a matter of days. But if we cut corners, we put a cheaper cabinet, we don't do the fence outside, we leave the old roof on, guess what? That house is going to hang around like a bad smell. And so there's deals to be done right now. And that's it.
You with my take as you listening to this is the timing the market right is saying, oh, I don't want to buy a house today for 300 because it could be worth 290 tomorrow. Okay. But I think the greater thinking is it could be worth 200 in 5 months, right? That $300,000 house is not going to go to 200. I feel strongly and passionately about that. Yeah, maybe it's 290, right? So your risk is that like $10,000 delta on a $300,000 house, which is a small percentage. The other side is that if you're timing the market and you're sitting on the sideline, the risk of inaction, the risk of opportunity loss is so much greater than the potential of that, say, 10K loss in equity. So which one are you going to be? Are you more worried about the little small things? What's the saying, David? Don't step over dollars to pick up nickels or whatever it is. I feel like that's what this is that you're stepping over $10 bills so you can pick up those pennies. Okay. And the pennies are is that you're worried about a $10,000 equity loss. If you're going to hold the property, it doesn't matter, versus the inaction and the opportunity loss of being able to buy these properties, get them rented out. So with that, David, I think we've said our piece for the day. Hopefully this has been interesting. Please, guys, go subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen to us on Apple and Spotify podcasts. Go hit us up on all the social media at Burn Your Boats Wealth. We love all the comments. There's some really cool comments coming in. And if you disagree with us or you think we're a bunch of crumb bums, you can tell us that as well, too. We have a thick skin. So with that, David, let's sign off. And I look forward to talking to you next time in Panama.
Have a great trip.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you for tuning in to the Timely 10. Be sure to click the like button and share, and connect with us on social media. Content in Burn Your Boats podcast is for entertainment purposes only and is not legal or financial advice. Please review our legal disclaimer at burnyourboatswealth.com.